Shadow of the Colossus doesn't really feel like a video game. It feels like a piece that you're meant to observe and take in. Even playing it and engaging with the mechanical systems, it doesn't feel gamey. It's almost like you were transported into a painting and you can physically move around inside it. It's immersive in a way a lot of games aren't. Let's really soak in this world. Join me as we look at a handful of spots that caught my eye scattered across this barren landscape. Welcome to Video Game World Tours. Almost immediately after gaining control of the player character, you're greeted with this wide, vacant space. It's such an impactful moment because it instantly sets the tone for the world. It feels naturalistic, realistic almost. The way there's practically no points of interest makes it feel like this world wasn't built for the player. You're gonna have some moments where you're riding on Argo and there's nothing to do. You know the direction you need to go and you're pointed in that direction. All you have to do is hold X to reach max speed and let go of your controller. Meditate, take in your surroundings, and become immersed in the world. The location of the first Colossus is up on that cliff. Let's get climbing. I have to say, this game makes climbable areas look supernatural. No distracting yellow paint to draw your eyes to this area, and yet it perfectly stands out. Though I guess that's the benefit of lower fidelity games. This little area is detailed enough to stand out from the rock wall it's cut into. The limitations of the console make this scene easier to parse. Alright, here we are, the spot where you fight the first Colossus. This is my first time coming up here since beating him and... I just assumed this valley stretched out in that direction. I reached the Colossus and defeated him pretty quickly, so I didn't get to see much of this area. Oh wow, look at all that space. Like I said, I left this area relatively quickly. I'm curious how many other people did too. How many people walked all the way down here and explored this space? It's kinda hard to map out the landscape in my head. The rock walls and the ground are practically the same color. It all blends together. Oh wow, there's some ruins here. I almost said earlier that it feels like ruins are placed in areas to make points of interest stand out in the landscape, but I don't think there's anything here. Nothing for you to climb to go higher up. Though maybe you come down from up there at a later point in the game. That's a possibility, but I wouldn't bet on it. I've noticed that all the colossi in this game have little domains that they call home. I took note of that with the later ones in the game, but for whatever reason, I assumed the first one here was better connected to the outside world. Guess that's just the vibes I got. Let's ride our way to the domain of the second Colossus. You know, the game's camera plays a big part in the game's vibes. Just the way it frames you feels so alien. Look at how off-center Argo is. You almost never see this in third-person games. They're usually centered with a little bit of offsetting to the left or right. This shot reminds me of something you'd see in a movie rather than a video game. And the way it pulls back sometimes during long rides, it feels like this is the game asking you as blatantly as it can, please look at this world, enjoy it. To the north of the starting tower lies a lake with a perilous land bridge stretching across it. It was a little scary to cross my first time here, but once I realized Argo does a pretty good job at avoiding the edge, I put all my faith in her. Over the bridge and down a nearby slope leads you to the second domain. Not a whole lot to see here, but I guess that's this game in a nutshell. Not a lot to look at, but it feels meaningful anyway. The level designers knew how to create some memorable landmarks. The fact that you're at the bottom of this lake, looking up at the lands above you, it's striking. Over here is where the Colossus breaks through to start the fight. Say, what do you think it's like in there? If he broke through, that must mean this is the first time he came out this way. It's a completely closed-off cave. And it's not even that big. I guess that raises the question of what the Colossi do before Wander arrives. The first one you see is just lumbering around, going about its own business. The second one here seems to be hibernating in this cave. A lot of the later ones are like that too. Not sure what to make of that. The way I'm only halfway through the game, maybe this gets elaborated on later. Probably not. Anyway, cool cave. Way over here is the shoreline. I really like the way the waves crash into land. Water from this generation of consoles is so beautiful. And all the way over there. When starting out this game, I wasn't sure if you could swim, but now that I know you can, I feel like I have to swim all that way. I did it in my Xenoblade Chronicles tour, and I have to do it here too. Here we go! Oh, thank God, the waves push you back. The third Colossus isn't too far from here. Back up the slope and through a valley, you find yourself in a swamp-like area. I guess in retrospect it isn't super swampy, but the low visibility and all this gray really evoked swamp vibes in my mind. Of course, a big pool of water to swim around in. And no, there's nothing of interest around the edges. I checked. Elephant in the room though, this massive platform in the middle of the lake. You have to swim like 20 minutes because Wander is such a poor swimmer, but you do reach this platform that gives you a way to climb up. That is a scary jump. Even in a video game, I'm kinda hesitant to make it. Especially in this game, where I know I'm gonna have to swim for like half an hour to try it again. No time like the present. Oh! Ugh. Up here is... There's the corpse of the Colossus you kill. I didn't really think about it, but I'm sure the corpses of previous Colossi were present at earlier domains. I only noticed it here because I distinctly remember this being a super small and flat platform. So, anyway, you're on this platform raised above a nasty-looking lake. It's such an imposing structure, you can't help but wonder what purpose it served before you arrived. Why is the circle raised ever so slightly above the ground? Why does all this exist? Perhaps a question we'll look into a bit more in Part 2. The fourth domain is one that really struck me when I first arrived. You ride through a dark and desaturated valley like you've done many times before and will do many times in the future. This time, when the claustrophobic walls let up, a beautiful green scene is revealed. I've just kinda come to expect a gray and brown landscape leading up to this point, so I was shocked when I first saw this. Immediately, this was a place I knew I had to show off for this video. Some spots I go back and forth on whether to include them or not, but others practically demand inclusion. The vibes are off the charts here. The way the sun pokes through a tiny bit here, it truly feels like you found a secluded place in the world. And of course, the underground tunnels. I didn't know what to make of these at first. Well, as I went in this one, I didn't even realize there were 3 other entrances to this tiny passageway. I wasn't sure where I'd end up at the end of all this. I'll admit, I was a little disappointed there wasn't a whole underground network, but I feel like this is almost as interesting. Why is there a tiny underground square passage with 4 exits? Obviously it makes sense in terms of the boss fight and how you're supposed to defeat the Colossus here, but why was it here before? Oh, speaking of, let's go investigate the area where the Colossus came from. Wait a minute, there's the body of the Colossus I fought. And I didn't beat him over here, I killed him over on top of the tunnels. I guess the developers had to pick a spot to spawn in the corpse of the Colossus after you defeat them, but it's weird that they didn't do it over here where you're most likely to have done the deed. This Colossus was sitting on a nice little platform before Wander arrived. Not sure where that fits into the whole thing about Colossi living when you aren't around. The 5th domain is a unique one. First, it has you climbing a pretty tall tower, which is fun. Then, once you climb high enough, it's time to jump off into the waters below. This arena basically has you standing in one spot, waiting for the bird to attack you so you can jump on and do damage to it. Which, unfortunately, leads you to not really exploring it a whole lot. Double unfortunately, there's not a whole lot to explore in the first place. I hate swimming in this game, so I'm not a fan of this arena personally. But it is special. It kinda stands out compared to the others we've seen so far. This area especially made me realize that the developers can waste your time as a way to punish you. A lot of the mechanical skill in this game comes from your grip management. You can't hold on for too long, or you'll fall off the creature. And falling off here means you got a good ways to swim to reach a spot where you can hop back on. Just an interesting thought I had coming back here. Really not a whole lot to see. I kinda wish you could climb on top of these pillars. We'll just move on. On the way to the 6th domain is a spot that caught my eye. It's just a nice little forest. I thought for sure that the fight would happen here, but I was surprised that I had to keep going. This definitely feels like a spot where a colossus would appear out of nowhere and you'd have to climb some trees to reach it or something. It's a chill vibe, even if there's nothing to do here. Reminds me of that one forest in Dark Souls. I remember following the beam of light and it brought me to this cliffside. I obviously had to go around to reach the next spot, but I appreciated the view nonetheless. Oh man, I was looking forward to a desert environment. This is beautiful. That environmental haze really does this space wonders. Say, it reaches pretty far out to the west. I wonder if there's another colossus to fight over that way later in the game. I almost don't want to go over in case there is and I spoil myself. I'd be kicking myself if I don't go that way and it turns out there wasn't a fight down here. Let's take a detour and go this way. Huh. So there's a bridge leading across to the other side, as well as a path leading down to the beach. I'll just leave it for now. I can't go exploring every little branching path. We'd be here for hours. Cool expanse, though. Alright, the 6th domain. I knew I was in for something good when I saw a path leading underground. Over some rubble and down some tunnels and... wow, stunning. I really do wonder what kind of civilization was around here before you stumbled into this world. I love insanely big interiors that hint at something grander than you could ever imagine. And this poor little colossus was stuck down here. Look at how tall it is. Colossi are big, but even this guy feels tiny in this room. Man, I really wish I could explore all those little ledges higher up on the walls. I'm sure there's nothing interesting on any of them. I just like to be able to stand up there, looking down at all this from a fresh perspective. Let me climb anything, Breath of the Wild style. Oh, kinda interesting detail. The 6th Colossus breaks through these tiny walls during the fight, and that's how you reach the final part of the room that lets you climb on top of him. But during my fight, he ended up not breaking down these walls, so they're just permanently left up during my playthrough. In this version of the world, they will continue to stand until claimed by Mother Nature. Kinda beautiful if you ask me. It's a bit of a trek to the 7th domain. Of the first 8 colossi, it might be the furthest away from the center. Man, the lack of ambient music really sets the mood. These long horse rides emphasize just how lonely the world is. And here we are, another water arena. I like this tower you can climb up. The fact that you have to loop around this so many times, it really sells the scale of the world. And up top is a quaint little spot with a tiny bit of foliage. Could this grass and these bushes really grow up here? I'm just putting off exploring the water down there. I really do not like swimming in this game. But as your tour guide, I am legally obligated to explore this game. So explore I must. Man, there is literally nothing to see down here. Practically nothing to stand on other than the corpse of the colossus you killed. Unless... is that a tiny little beach? I gotta go see it. I think I'm hallucinating spots now. The final domain of this video is the one that houses the 8th Colossus. On the way to it, we're met with this beautiful waterfall. It pours into the void below, almost begging you to jump in. But that's a bottomless pit. We can't explore a bottomless pit, no matter how much I might want to. After that is a little clearing. This almost feels like an oasis. All this greenery and this body of water. It's a place of rejuvenation in this mostly desolate landscape. You're drawn to the structure in the middle of the lake. I kinda love this game because I have no idea what to expect half of the time. I enter this cave and I find a beautiful waterfall. I go past that and I find this serene scene. In the middle of it is a mysterious building with an entrance. What could lie inside that? Man, this is so cool. It feels like we're slowly seeing more of whatever civilization existed here long ago. I can't wait to see the environments later in the game. Whoa. Whoa. What a peculiar place. And it's weird coming back after the fight because there's no more intense music. Your perspective of the spot shifts a bit. Though even when I did first arrive here, this arena felt special. Arena is the best word I can really think of to describe this, but it doesn't quite match. The fact that there's all these layers to this tower, and you can climb all the way down on these steps, plus these windows going around the whole thing, it's just weird. It's like I have a mental reference for what this is supposed to be, but I can't put it into words. And all the way down here at the bottom, it feels so peaceful, being surrounded on all sides by these unnatural stone bricks, but the sun poking through the top, it's magical. Subscribe so you can get notified when I cover the second half of the game. It won't be my next video, but it'll come out soon. All the environments I've seen so far have been so quiet and soothing. I can't wait to see what shows up later. Thanks for watching.